In a quiet corner of a grand but fading estate, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Once her life had been filled with warmth, laughter, and love. But after the loss of her parents, that life slowly turned into something else, something colder. Her stepmother and stepsisters ruled the house with sharp voices and heavy expectations. Cinderella, once treated like family, became little more than a servant in her own home. She cleaned, cooked, and worked from dawn until night, her kindness taken for granted, her presence often ignored. Yet she never allowed bitterness to take root in her heart. Even in her hardest moments, she remained gentle. She spoke kindly, even when others did not. She found comfort in small things, the quiet morning light, the soft hum of birds outside her window. Still, deep within her, there was a quiet longing, not for wealth or power, but for a chance to be seen, to be valued, to feel like she belonged again. One day, an invitation arrived at the house. The royal palace was hosting a grand ball, and every young woman in the kingdom was invited. The prince himself would be there, and it was said he would choose someone to share his future with. Cinderella's heart stirred with a hope she had not felt in a long time. She imagined what it would be like to step beyond the walls of her life, to stand among others not as a servant, but as herself. But hope in her world was often fragile. Her stepmother laughed at the idea. Her stepsisters mocked her openly. They piled more work upon her, ensuring she would never have the time or the means to go. "I will go," Cinderella whispered to herself. Not with defiance, but with quiet determination. She worked tirelessly, completing every task, every demand, holding on to the small belief that if she did everything right, she might be allowed a chance. But when the moment came, they left without her. The house fell silent. Cinderella stood alone, the weight of disappointment pressing heavily on her chest. For a moment, her strength wavered. Tears filled her eyes as she looked at the empty space where hope had once been. Maybe this was all her life would ever be. But magic often arrives when hope feels lost. A soft light filled the room, gentle and warm. Before her stood a fairy calm, kind and quietly powerful. "You have not been forgotten," she said. With a wave of her hand, the world around Cinderella began to change. Her worn dress transformed into something breathtaking, shimmering like starlight. A simple pumpkin became a golden carriage. Mice turned into horses, and the night itself seemed to open a path just for her. Cinderella could hardly believe it. But the fairy's voice reminded her gently, "This magic will not last forever. When midnight comes, everything will return as it was." Cinderella nodded, her heart filled not with fear, but with gratitude. For the first time, she stepped into a world she had only imagined. The palace was alive with music and light. Laughter echoed through the grand halls as guests moved gracefully beneath shining chandeliers, and when Cinderella entered, the room seemed to pause. Not because of magic alone, but because of the quiet grace she carried within her. The prince saw her immediately. There was something about hers, something real, that drew him closer. When they spoke, it was not like the conversations he had known before. She did not try to impress him, did not speak with pride or pretense. She was simply herself, and that was enough. They danced, their movements effortless, as if time itself had slowed just for them. For a while, Cinderella forgot everything. The past, the pain, the limits of her world. She felt free, but time does not stop, even for magic. As the clock began to strike midnight, reality returned. Cinderella's heart raced as she realized what was about to happen. Without explanation, she fled the palace, leaving behind only a single glass slipper as she disappeared into the night. By morning, everything was as it had been. The gown was gone, the carriage had vanished, and Cinderella was once again in her quiet home. But something had changed. The memory of that night remained not as a dream, but as a truth. She had been seen, she had been valued, and for the first time, she knew that her life could be more than what it had been. At the palace, the prince searched for her. He did not know her name, her home, or her past, but he remembered who she was. The glass slipper became his only clue, and he traveled across the kingdom, determined to find the one person who had made him feel something real. House by house, he searched, until he arrived at Cinderella's home. Her stepsisters tried desperately to fit the slipper, forcing it, pretending, but truth cannot be shaped to fit a lie. At last, Cinderella stepped forward. There was hesitation in the room, disbelief, resistance, but when she placed her foot into the slipper, it fit perfectly. In that moment, the truth became undeniable. But the story was never truly about the slipper. It was about what it represented. Cinderella had not become worthy because of magic. She had always been worthy. The kindness she carried, the strength she showed, the patience she held through hardships were the things that made her who she was. The magic had only revealed it when she returned to the palace. It was not as someone transformed by a wish, but as someone finally seen for who she had always been. The prince did not choose her because of beauty alone. He chose her because she was real. And Cinderella, who had once believed her life was confined to silence and service, stepped into a future where she was no longer invisible. Her story became more than a tale of glass slippers and midnight magic. It became a reminder that true change does not come from magic alone. It comes from the strength to remain kind in a world that is not always kind, and the courage to believe that one day that kindness will be seen.